start with Sutra 11, Hetu Phala Ashraya Alambanai Sangrihitatvat Esham Bhave Tadabhavaha. It says that in the previous sutra it was stated that tasam anaditvam cha ashisho nityatvat. So tasam means vasananam, impressions. So those impressions are beginningless because the longings, asisha, longings, attached longings are eternal. Because attached longings are eternal, so the impressions rising out of them are also beginningless. But the question arises that these impressions, beginningless, can they be destroyed, eliminated or not? So this sutra, Sutra 11, tells us that those impressions are caused by avidya, that is the hetu, and their phala is happiness, unhappiness, and their substratum is the combination of mind as connected with the self, and supporting object is to provide enjoyment to Purusha, that is supporting object. So if all of them, if all those impressions that also comprise the three gunas, so if the hetu, the cause, the fruit, the substratum and the object are absent, so these impressions also will be destroyed thereby, even though they are beginningless, but they are not endless, they can end. So that's why it says hetu phalashraya lambanai sangrihitatvat, because those impressions are collected by causes, the fruits, the ashraya and the alambana, the substratum and the supporting object. So if they are absent, tesham abhave, cause, fruit, substratum and objects are absent, then those impressions will also come to an end. Esham abhave tadabhavaha. That is to say, they will not be there if the four are absent. Otherwise they cannot exist. So even though they are beginningless, but they are not endless. And then the Sutra 12 reads, Atita Nagatam Swarupatah Asti Atvabhedat Dharmanam Atita Nagatam Swarupatostyadvabhedat Dharmanam. So the question now arises that these vasanas, if they exist in the form of an object of the mind, and vasanas and memory, they are almost the same. So how can they be destroyed? How can they be got rid of? That is the question. So then the reply is provided in this sutra, Atita Nagatam Swarupatah Asti Advabhedat Dharmanam. Atita Nagatam Swarupatah Asti Advabhedat Dharmanam. So we are referring to the fact that how to get rid of those impressions. What do we mean? We are talking of the present moment. How to get rid of them? So what is Atita and what is Anagata? What is Atita is past and what is Anagata, that is future. It is, as a matter of fact, it is always present. It is also present in the latent form, even in the present. They are present in the present in a latent form. And it is only their characteristics that differ. They differ in characteristics, that is, present characteristics, future characteristics, and past characteristics. They may differ, but they are always present in the present itself. So the difference lies only in the outer characteristics. That is, for example, the body is there at the moment, but in the past it was not there. This body was not there, and in future this body will not be there. But some body will be there, and some body was there even in the past. So the present itself is, in fact, is a receptacle of the past and the present also. But the difference is in the difference of characteristics, difference of situations. Situational differences are there. So that is Advabhedat Dharmanam. So there is nothing wrong if they disappear. They they will be there still then, but they will be in the form of disappearance. They will be in the form of unmanifest. They are in the form of manifest now or unmanifest now, but they were in the form of manifest earlier, and now they have become unmanifest. So this is one of the characteristics of those impressions. So it is not that the impressions were there and impressions will not be there. Impressions will always be there. They were there and they will be there, but they were earlier in the manifest form and now they are in unmanifest form. That's the only difference. Avyaktadini bhutani vyaktamadhyani bharata avyakta nidananneva tatra ka paridevana. So that is what has been told about the beings in general. It applies also to the impressions, vasanas. Te vyakta sukshma gunatmanaha. Sutra 13 reads, Te vyakta sukshma gunatmanaha. They are manifest and they are very subtle and they are endowed with all the three gunas. So sometimes they are manifest, sometimes they are unmanifest in their subtle form. So there is no difference, as a matter of fact, so far as their existence is concerned. They exist, but sometimes they are unmanifest, in unmanifest condition, and sometimes they are in manifest conditions. That's all. That's the difference. Parinamayikatvad vastu tattvam. Sutra 14 reads, Parinamayikatvad vastu tattvam. The question arises that if there are three gunas, so then how is it, say, this voice, the sound is one, and the sense organ that receives the sound is that also is one. So because the transformation is one, so the object also is one. The essence of the object is also one. So parinama ekatvad vastu tattvam. So objects are one. I mean, each and every sense organ has only one object, not three objects. The visual sense organ has the object visibility in its so far as the visual sense organ is concerned, it can have vision only. So vision or visuality is the only object of visual sense organ. If there is a sound in that object, it is the auditory sense organ that will view it. Similarly, the tactual sensation would be by skin. The olfactory perception or sensation would be from the nose. So that's what parinama ekatvad vastu tattvam, that appear to be. Now, generally they think that some people, for example, Buddhists think that, and especially Vijnanavadins, they think that nothing outside is there. What we look outside is the external transformation of the inner intellect. Vijnanavada, they call it. That what you think, everything is there. If you do not think, it is not there. I don't know how they make such a wild statement. But anyway, vastu samye chitta bhedat tayor vibhakta pantha. One and the same object, two persons view simultaneously. One is pleased to see that, and the other is very unhappy to see that. Ravana appears both before Hanuman and before Vibhishana. Vibhishana is pleased to see him. He likes him and he wants to suggest something to him. But Hanuman treats him as his staunch enemy. Vibhishana treats him as his brother. Or better we say Kumbhakarna. Kumbhakarna also treats him as his brother. Somebody in rural areas, person is the same, but some people treat him as father, some people treat him as grandfather, some people treat him as father-in-law, some people treat him as brother, as uncle, as a boss, or in whatever form. So if everything were mind and everything were just intellectual, then there would not have been difference in the treatment of one and the same object in different ways. So vastu samye chitta vedat tayor vibhakta pantha. Vastu samye means the object is just the same or similar, but seeing that some people think otherwise, some people think in a different way. So object and thinking, they cannot be identical. Payor vibhakta pantha, their ways are different. So the object is different and intellectual thinking is different. Tayor vibhakta pantha. This was 15, Sutra 15. And then comes Sutra 16. Na chaika chitta tantrang vastu tadapramanakam tadakim syat. The object as such cannot depend on one mind. Cannot depend on one mind. Eka chitta tantram. Tantram is dependence. So vastu, any object, cannot be dependent on one mind. Eka chitta tantram vastu. For example, if somebody is suffering from jaundice, so he will see a white object as yellow. Others will see it as white. So what would be is there the difference in the object? No, object remains the same. But if you believe in the statement of one person depending on his one mind, so if dependent on one mind, yellowness appears in some object. So if that is not pramana, that is not a valid cognition, tada kim syat, what will happen then? Will you deny the existence of that object? No, you will not. So that means that the object has its independent existence than your mind. Your mind is vitiated by this fever, yellow fever, and you see everything yellow, and that is a pramana. That is not a valid cognition, that is not a valid knowledge. So does it mean that the object is does not there? The white substance is not there? You cannot say that. The object is the same, but it needs a pure mind to look at it, to see whether it is whatever it is. But you cannot say that the object is as you look at it. You cannot say that. So then comes Sutra 17. Taduparaga pekshitvat chittasya vastu jnata jnatam. Chitta, the mind, sometimes knows an object, sometimes it does not know an object. Because the chitta is colored by the color of the object. presented before a mind, presented before it. Chitta is colored by the object. It is not that the object is colored by the chitta. So, taduparaga pekshitva chittasya vastu jnata jnatam. So, if the object has colored the chitta as jnata, as known, then that vastu is jnata to that chitta. If it has colored the vastu as ajnata, so the thing is ajnata. There are so many causes for non-visibility of something, invisibility of something. If something is placed at a distance, so the mind is colored by invisibility, by distance of the object. Too close, if the eyes are too close to visual object, the eyes cannot see themselves because eyes or the chitta connected with the eye is colored with the too closeness. So taduparaga pekshitva chittasya vastu jnata jnatam. So any object is known to the chitta when it is colored by, it depends upon the knowledge or cognition of an object, depends upon the coloring by the object of the mind. So mind becomes known or mind becomes unknown depending on the coloring, its coloring by the object concerned. It is not that the object is colored by the mind, but the mind is colored by an object.